This podcast contains adult language and mature themes, which may not be suitable for all listeners. So listen at your own fucking risk.
Welcome to Essential NPCs, a podcast dedicated to sampling all of the best
And possibly some of the worst.
tabletop RPGs. I'm Tommy,
I'm Addie.
and you're listening to Series 1, Episode 1, A Study in Grass.
Ba-ba-bum.
Ha! There we go. Episode 1, the podcast has begun.
Yay!
Exciting things.
Can I go home now?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a wrap.
All right.
That's a wrap. We're all
See
done.
ya.
All right, pack it all up. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast.
We love you already.
As you may have surmised from the tagline, in this podcast, we play several different systems of tabletop RPGs. Each system is confined into its own series, and we may revisit certain systems in the future. It's almost guaranteed.
Logistical stuff that will come naturally to you later.
Yeah. But this is Series 1, and we are playing Dungeons & Dragons. And before every episode, before the bulk of the episode, which is simply us playing the game, we have a little segment called Words with the DM,
Hi.
where we talk to the DM
Hi.
about their experiences in the past episode running the session as the DM
Hi.
and how they feel about it being, the DM and all.
Hi.
So in Series 1, Dungeons & Dragons, Addie here is the DM.
Hi.
As there is no previous episode for us to necessarily talk about, Words with the DM isn't really a thing. But what we can talk to you about is basically a little bit of detail into the story so far. Because these characters you're walking into, they are currently level 5 characters. They actually went on an adventure previously in what we refer to as Session 0, where we were basically trying out some of our recording equipment and leveling up the characters through the boring levels.
Plus, most of them didn't know how to play.
Yeah, almost all of us.
They were
didn't know how
like
to play.
baby players.
Yeah. So
Wait, what is initiative?
I don't understand what's armor do.
Yeah.
How
how does advantage work?
that question actually happened quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on a roll. Keep going.
No, I don't want to keep going. Tell us about Session 0 a little bit. Tell us about what's happened in the story so far going into Episode 1.
Sure.
Broad strokes.
Stuff.
Slightly less broad strokes, please.
Okay. 3 of our adventurers, along with a 4th companion, were contracted to do some side work for the Baldur's Gate Thieves Guild. And a man named Bryn and his friend, Anna.
Yeah.
Ravenhill?
I'd say they're friends.
They're friends-ish. And they got into some trouble and then
Saved the day.
saved the day afterwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they basically, and we'll release all of this in bonus content so you guys can,
Listen to us learn how to play the game and learn how to podcast.
yeah, woohoo. Lucky for you, the audio quality is much better. The
Now.
playing, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to get all defensive with that, but okay.
No. Hey man, I have a good understanding of my limitations.
Aw. So basically what we did with Session 0 is the characters all met. Well, most of them met and became sort of a adventuring group, basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away because as the season goes on, we'll be releasing those 5 episodes.
Right. I think the
Mostly the integral part is to know that the gentleman named Bryn becomes an actually
also known as Bryn the Handsome.
yes, and charming, and a bunch of
other nicknames.
epithets.
No one knows what his last name is though.
I do.
Yeah, you're the only one.
I know.
Because you're God and all.
Hey. No, that's right.
Yeah. Bryn's like the main guy, right? He's the guy who hired us all.
Yes.
And then he has a very, very highly skilled operative and good friend of his named Enna Ravenhelm.
Yes.
Who helped us along on our journey. We were just basically trying to dismantle a slave trade, basically, run by.
Spoiler alert.
Well, yeah. It's bonus content for a reason.
Yeah, mostly because the audio quality.
Yeah, pretty much, and the fact that we didn't know what we were doing.
Hey, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, but the rest of us didn't. But yeah, so that's basically all the broad stroke backstory you need going in.
Yeah.
So moving forward into episode 1,
Sure.
we should talk a little bit about the cast that you're going to be listening to. One of which is me. I'm playing my bard character,
Human bard.
human bard.
Let's not be racist.
Named Oberon Delgado. And then there's Seth, who is playing his mountain dwarf barbarian named Crethlin Partentellin.
Which is apparently very important to call him a mountain dwarf.
He's very sensitive about it.
Yeah. And as the DM, I continually forget it's not a character choice. So Easter eggs, listen to me as we go through the podcast, mess up repeatedly and make this mountain dwarf very grumpy.
Yeah, he gets very offended. And then there's Sean, who is playing Dayron Draug, a wood elf assassin, somewhat decent ranking member of the Thieves Guild. Then there's Covert, and that is his name.
Not his first.
Not his first name, but that is his name. And it's what we call him when we're not calling him by his character name. So, yeah. Covert, who is playing Bancard Brightwood, another human, and a paladin of St. Cuthbert.
Yes.
And where you can find out more about the cast is our website. We have a website.
We do have a website. You should go there. It's www.essentialnpcs.com. You can go there to find out all about our characters, why we decided to do the podcast, when we're releasing, where to find us, etc., all of our social media. Mm-hmm. We also have a Facebook page, which is /Essential NPCs.
Just search Essential NPCs on Facebook. You'll find us, I'm sure.
Probably. We're also on Twitter and Instagram.
Yep, at Essential NPCs. That's at Essential NPCs.
With an S.
With an S at the end.
Yeah. Because there's somebody who has Essential NPC.
He's not us.
Yeah.
Don't,
or she. You don't know.
That's true. Could be either.
Sexist.
I'm horrible. But yeah, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything, we have an email you can send all of that to.
Yep.
What is it?
Fan mail at essentialnpcs.com.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
And we will actually, during Words with the DM, we will answer some of the questions if they're about, previous episodes.
Yep. Or address your concerns when I mess up on rules or homebrew those rules, because that's really what I'm doing.
Yeah, there will be a few rules that are a little shaky, a little spotty, and that's not because of lack of understanding of the rules. It's more a deliberate decision to...
in service to the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also, if we don't get to your questions in this little
later.
segment, we will be having a Q&A, possibly a live stream Q&A at the end of the series.
And you can hear more about that when we figure it out.
Yeah. No date or time or
promises
method set yet. It's basically been brought up
a couple times.
Anyway, with that really smooth transition, how about you go meet the characters?
All right, and then enjoy the episode.
Yeah. Bye.
Well met. My name is Oberon Delgado, a Termish gladiator hailing from a remote desert village called Evershade. As quick with a sword as I am with my cutting wit, on a typical day you can expect to find me in one of two places: the local fighting pits or the library. When I was a young boy, a stroke of luck led me to discover a buried chest that had once belonged to a master bard called Hoban Baybasin. Amongst his belongings were an old cracked ocarina and a leather-bound journal. Within its pages I found obscure glyphs and diagrams from which I began to decipher the mysteries of the arcane. Over a decade later, I'm still attempting to unlock all the secrets this journal has to offer. While I've only been on the road for a few years now, I've crossed the path of more than a few interesting traveling companions. As is the bardic way, I've taken to listening to their stories and occasionally even joining in on some of their adventures, The most recent of these companions came in the form of a mountain dwarf named Creflin, whom I met in a tavern brawl a few months back. In his company, I've found myself swept up in a journey that makes the fighting pits seem dull in comparison. Until now, I've simply documented the stories of others, but something tells me I'll be chronicling my own tales for posterity soon enough.
I'm called Crethlin Partintil, an officer of the clan Thrain, barbarian and mountain dwarf of the highest caliber. I was a military lad before the first hairs grew on my chin, and I served for 200 years until they retired me and put me in the fucking Lawmakers Guild. I used to lead every clan migration between strongholds, scouting ahead, clearing the path, destroying threats, but once they retired me, I had to travel with the civilians. Well, I didn't have that for long. I left my clan 3 decades ago now and wouldn't return for all the gold in the caverns. I'm a traveller now. The laws of the Thrain are still close to my heart. For years, my officer salary kept me afloat, but I've run flat broke now and have to work for my lugger. Luckily, there's lots to be done with a maul and a hand axe. Oberon started following me around about 7 or 8 moons ago. The lad annoys the shite out of me, but he has his moments. Mostly he's there to tell my tale once I've finally been slain by some tough bastard. I suppose he's useful for something. If you want a glimpse into my travels, just take a look in my knapsack. I've got a centaur's tail cut with my own hands. I've got a beard comb made from the rib of a bear, the one whose skin I've got round my shoulders there. Just look at that face. I've got a bottle of wine from the finest elven pantry, and I've got plenty of room for more trophies of the like. Now go piss off before I make you eat your teeth.
I'm Bankard Brightwood, Paladin of the Cuthbertine Order. I was sent by my order to assist the Thieves Guild. For a bunch of brigands, they surprisingly do quite a bit of God's work. When I arrived, I met a group of fellow adventurers. We came across this funny little halfling by the name of Barley. Barley was rather annoying, but all in all, I could tell he was a good man. And when Barley was killed, just because he was annoying, I never felt so helpless in my life. Felt like I let down St. Cuthbert and the common man he's supposed to protect, that I was supposed to protect. That night I swore an oath to Barley, to everyone.
If you're ever harmed by evil, I, Bankard Brightwood, Paladin of St. Cuthbert, shall use his blessings to make you whole again, and harness his wrath to cleave evil in two.
I'm Darren Draug. They call me the Cleaner. Whenever there's a dirty job, I'm the guy the Thieves Guild calls to clean it up. I think fast, I talk fast, I act fast. I was born a wood elf, but I'd say I'm more of a city elf now. I don't see my family much anymore. At 351 years old, I'm just over the proverbial hill, and I've been doing what I'm doing for a long time. I bounced around Baldur's Gate and Waterdeep for a century or two, mostly cleaning, with a brief detour into doomed romance. I've never been much of a family man, especially since the job tends to get in the way. Occasionally, the differing nature of mortality between elves and humans gets in the way as well. But in recent years, I've been watching the next generation of Thieves Guild members grow up and come into their own, the latest of which is my dear young friend Bryn the Handsome, who called me in for a particularly dirty job. And unless my experience is wrong, with this job and these companions, it's gonna take a lot of cleaning.
It's been nearly half a year since your first meeting with Bryn, the leader of the Baldur's Gate Thieves Guild. He's visited quite a few times and kept your group updated on the progress of your last adventure. As time has gone on, though, his visits have become fewer and fewer, And while he's normally jovial and outgoing, he's been looking more tired and basically slower to smile and laugh than you've experienced before. There seems to be more than a few things on his mind as of late. Today, he's appeared at your townhouse with an elf you've only ever seen before, but you know him by reputation. You notice that Bryn is noticeably scorched over one eye as well as his forearms, and his companion is also a little singed as well.
And these are new wounds?
They look pretty recent.
Okay. Well, I assume I'm doing what I'm always doing and sitting there with my journal and a book and constantly studying. But when I look up and see that, I'll immediately close both books and run up and be like, Bryn, are you all right? What happened?
I'm fine. It's fine.
We ran afoul of a pyromancer.
Yes.
Oh,
It was bad.
and everything's okay though? Do you
He's
need
dead
us?
now.
Okay, and you are?
Draug. Darren Draug.
Your
I'm
reputation precedes you, Darren.
I'm the cleaner.
Yes, I've heard. I'm Oberon Delgado.
Nice to meet you, Oberon.
Vanguard Brightwood.
Crethlin, Dren's back, wake up.
What the fuck? What?
Crethlin, we have guests.
Oh, good. Hello. Good to see you, man. Crethlin Part 10 telling?
Good morning.
Good morning. Who are you? Who is this? Who's this?
Darren Draug. I'm the cleaner.
The cleaner. What do you clean?
Well, no, we've heard of him before.
All that Darren Drow.
Yeah, Darren Drow.
Yeah.
Remember the time?
Still waking up. My
Yeah.
brain's not.
This is Crethlin Partentellan.
I said that.
And,
he knows my name.
I'm sure he's heard many stories of you.
Yes, a pleasure to meet you as well, Crethlin.
Likewise.
Bryn, as you guys have been talking, he wandered into the kitchen and started putting a salve on his arm. Which is odd for him not to pay attention to you, if you remember.
You know, Bryn, I have something a little more effective than a salve. And I rub my hands together, and I'm going to lay hands on him to clear up the burns.
You're not even going to ask for his permission?
No, it's cool, man.
We go way back.
He says,
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks. That'd be great.
And you, new friend.
Darren.
He's only
Yes.
said it about 5 times now.
And you're Bankard, yes?
Yes, I can heal you as well.
Oh,
Burns are never
it's
fun.
all right. It's purely cosmetic.
Oh, suit yourself.
Oh, he's a tough fella, isn't he, Crethlin?
That's but a scratch.
I don't think infections are very cosmetic.
I'm sure he appreciates it nonetheless, Vanguard.
A little singe on the eyebrows never hurt anybody.
So you rub your hands together, think of St. Cuthbert, and delicately touch his wounds. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
Such a tender moment.
And the light comes from your fingertips sort of effuses through his skin, and many of his burns heal over. They're not quite entirely healed, but much more significantly than he looks much better now than he did before. Thank you, Maycard. I needed that. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. We've been, Darren and I have been searching for something, and we think we found it. The trouble is, every time we go to this place, we can't find our way in. And I think you may have the skills to actually get us in, which would be fantastic. And you know how you're all divine or whatever, and we're so
Profane?
Morally questionable?
I liked
you,
profane.
everyone.
A right bunch of cunts is I think he
Bryn, you don't have to sweet talk me to help out. Just tell me what you need done.
we're looking for a stone that we've found out is in the temple of Lara, which isn't actually too far away from here. But the thing is that she's sort of the goddess of illusion, and there's been lots of illusions. So
it's tough to break and enter when the door isn't real.
Not all illusions, though, because you guys have burns. Was that...
That's an unrelated incident.
And she's divine, neutrally thingy or whatever, and yours is divine too. So with all the, divine...
Quite divine indeed.
All right.
Let's just go there. I'll check it out. How's that?
That would be very, very helpful. We're not sure exactly where it is inside. We do know that it's guarded, and that's why Darren is...
Do you need the rest of us, or is it just Hollywood here?
Well, I mean, of course, Bankard's going to need some backup. And, I mean, Krethlin and I don't necessarily work for free. While we've been enjoying this
free board and...
Yes. Is this a job we're talking about, or simply a favor for a friend?
It would be helpful to have some muscle, Bryn.
Oh, come on, Bryn. You don't have to think about it that hard.
Well, I agree, Darren, that we would need some help, potentially. Oh, don't look like that, Krethlin.
Oh, come now.
This stone isn't really... While it's worth quite a bit, it's not worth quite a bit to anyone who's paying. So I can pay you, but not nearly so much as perhaps when we had the unlimited funds of before.
Well, I guess the real question then is it going to be fun?
Are you bored?
Then
Then I think it will probably be fun.
All right. Yeah.
Well, if Krethlin's on board, then I suppose I am as well.
Great. So the stone, we think, in and of itself, isn't too dangerous, I think. But the getting in there, especially because she's... I mean, we can't even find the door. So it might be a little tough to...
So you don't even know it's in there because you don't know where the door
Yes.
is. Right. So I think a little bit of support would go a long way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I know anything about this temple or anything? Like, I've been rampaging through all the libraries in Baldur's Gate. I'm wondering if I've run into anything that talks about this god or possibly a stone relating to this god.
Perhaps in my studies I've came across this.
Yeah, you can
Let me
roll
think.
religion.
Okay.
That's a d20 plus your modifier if you have it. Otherwise, it's just intelligence.
I might know a thing or two about this stone. 15.
Simply 11.
Simply 11.
Yes.
Okay. So you, Oberon, know that Lyra is the god of illusion and trickery, goddess of illusion and trickery. She's, you know that she's considered to be chaotic in nature, a bit more than fickle. But she's not really good or evil. It's mostly, she's, what you've read has basically told you that she's sort of in it for herself, and her followers
She's practically a goddess of fun.
Her followers are known as mist walkers or mist eaters.
That sounds ominous.
Yeah, you can't survive all that long on mist.
How was that attitude?
And Bankard, you know that she is a neutral goddess, and her symbol is the inverted triangle with a swirl of mist in it. And you know that they're called mist walkers because they go out in the early morning mists and the late in the evening mist to commune with her, because the mist is the symbol of sort of illusion, and it's hiding the things that you may otherwise be able to see. You also know exactly where the temple is, and you also know that she is the equal antagonist of St. Cuthbert.
Aye.
So she's on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. And they're known for seeing it as a personal achievement to convert the St. Cuthbertians
The Cuthbertites or Cuthbertines?
Cuthbertines.
Yeah.
to the to the mists.
Remember to drink your Cuthbertine.
And you know this because you've known a few people who follow Saint Cuthbert who have fallen away from him to Lyra, and you also know that they're like almost every illusionist follows her in some way or another. So many of her clergy, if you could call them that, are in fact accomplished illusionists and wield said magics.
Oh, you never just do the right thing or the simple things, no.
Trust nothing you see.
So Bryn says, if you're still all willing to do that, I assume that you share all of this with the group.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So after you tell all of this, Bryn says, we've figured that the best time to go is when they're out mist walking. It's probably going to be the emptiest. They always leave, but we can never see how. It's really great. Good fun.
Tried to watch him coming back, and man, I got really distracted. I don't know. The grass suddenly became very interesting. It was weird. Everything was very damp.
Since it's already past dawn, I figured the evening walk, unless you guys think the morning walk would be better. We can also...
Evening sounds good. Evening sounds good.
I
Let's
like
go
it.
with the
Time to
evening.
prepare.
I like to
Yeah.
work in the dark.
But I mean, that
I'm
gives
not a
us,
morning
I see
person.
very well in it.
That gives us a little time today to go. I mean, what kind of timetable are we on here, Bryn?
He gives a significant look to Darren. As soon as we can, I think is
Okay.
good.
So
Agreed.
tonight, then we should move.
That sounds perfect.
Okay. Well, we have.
I shall put my armor on now.
Well, let's not go kicking down doors. I don't think. Right.
Well, we don't even know where the door is. How are we going to
First, we
kick
need
it
to
down?
find the door, right? So
And make sure that when you kick it, you don't fall straight through.
when you guys were watching to see them come back, you were like hanging out outside the building,
Yeah. Stalking, skulking, if you will.
and the way you described the grass suddenly becoming extremely interesting seems like some sort of magic influence, perhaps. You don't strike me as a man who's particularly interested in minor details of dewy grass.
You
I am
kidding?
always aware of my surroundings, but
I wasn't implying any other.
He's an elf. He's practically in love with nature.
Hey, I'm a city elf, please.
Oberon, this is coming from someone who read an entire series of tomes on grass.
Well, I mean, there are a bunch of different...
Aye, the Grass Chronicles, aye.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, that was more just general research. Okay, fine. You got me there. But it was a really interesting read, and I still think you guys should have let me tell you about
A
it.
young man and his grass.
So, can I ask, what is the significance of this stone, was it? Are we using it for something? Are you using it for something?
No.
It just needs to be taken away from somebody?
It needs to be protected.
I see.
Right now, the stone is in the wrong hands. We don't.
It belongs in a museum.
It belongs. That's probably a good answer, honestly. It belongs in no one's hands. A glass case with a bunch of guards sounds pretty good to me right now.
All right.
Okay, so I suppose we wait until the twilight hours, and...
I prefer to call it dusk.
Wait, do we want to wait until they are coming back? That's not what we want.
We want to catch them when they're coming out.
Oh, right, that's right. They leave at night and at day.
We want to get in and out before they come back.
Understood.
How long do we have then?
Do you know?
Until the sun is down?
Time
or-
tends to get funny. But, yeah, I would say dusk till sundown is our timetable here.
Well, that's not very long.
No. We got to get in and get out.
Normally, I in situations like this, I would say we would want to go and check the place out ahead of time. But with what happened to you before, I think it's probably best that we keep our distance until...
But will they notice us looking for a door outside during the day?
They noticed the cleaner.
Hopefully they'll be too busy communing with their mists.
Sure, but I mean, can we look for the door when they're not trying to come out of it? Would that be conducive to our plan?
I don't know if we want to go in while it's full
Not
of
go
mist
in,
walkers.
but
Looking
find
from
the
the
door,
outside,
can we?
I'm just afraid that perhaps they have some sort of sensory spells
That's
that
what I asked,
could
right?
notice us poking around, and then we show our hand before we have to take action.
Absolutely.
Because there's this one story I read a while back about some adventurers who were trying to go into...
Oh, here he goes.
well,
Vanguard face bombs.
excuse me, but the point is, I think it's best that we wait until it's time to take action.
Fair enough.
Well, either way, we should definitely be on our way there. We can keep our distance if you want, but we need to get in.
But yeah, how far away is this building from where we are?
Bankard, you said you knew the way, right?
Yeah.
You know that it's in the High District, so it's they were able to convince the city to give them a very valuable piece of land to build their temple on,
Yes, somehow.
and that you know exactly where it is because they're people that you tend not to want to cross very often because they're tricksy.
Yes, I know where it is. I just avoid those kinds of folk.
You're not necessarily afraid of them. It's like if you see a magician walking up to you, you're like, oh, that's great. I'm going to watch them pick on someone else.
Well, yeah, it's amusing, but it's frowned upon.
Bryn says, great. Well, I'm going to go
Yeah, feel free to sit this one out.
return the thing that we did.
Good work.
Darren. Yeah, you too. Thanks for the save.
Yeah.
The assist was good. Oberon, always.
Bryn?
Crethlin.
Bryn.
I like your haircut. Is it new?
Oh, just been growing it out, actually.
Ah, nice.
I like yours, very singy.
Pleasure, as always.
Likewise.
And Bankard, thank you for... I know it's not exactly what you are hoping for, but...
Oh, it's not a problem, and maybe I can convert a few people back to...
I would be very impressed if you managed that.
and he sort of gives you a half salute, a little wink
To me?
to Oberon,
I saw that.
and a roll perception.
Did I see that? How is it 24?
It was like in slow motion.
And you saw the color rise to my cheeks.
And he gives a nod to Darren and he leaves. What now, guys?
Okay, well, we should get in the general vicinity, right? So that we
Agreed.
can take action when we think they're out.
Sure.
Hi.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Here we go. This is the
We
walking
walk.
sound we made.
Or perhaps jog briskly.
I mean, how long until
Well, they arrived mid-morning.
okay, so we have like the day.
You've just finished your typical bowl of meat for breakfast.
Yep, your meatball breakfast.
Crethlin.
With a side of mead.
Yes. And at a brisk pace, it takes you about an hour to get there.
Huh?
If you guys sort of leisurely go, it might take as much as 2.
If you'd like to scout it out before we try to infiltrate, now would be a good time.
I'm just like I mentioned before, I would be worried that we would tip our hand if they have anyone in there who's watching through windows unseen.
And then we can try to do it all in one go. But
Short timetable, but there's
I'm told no two people see the same thing.
well, hopefully our holy friend here will be able to see what's true with the aid of his not angry god, but
He's just, he just looks very intensely.
he's stern.
Yeah.
So I suppose we head on down to that general neighborhood. Maybe do like a walk by, right?
Sure.
nothing conspicuous.
Yeah, we're going somewhere else.
Yeah. Is there like a bar down the road we could go like
Oh, a
tap
bar. I like that idea.
Yeah, so this is a pretty nice area. It's not it's not as nice as the area where Straxon was staying, where it's basically like forts and castles, and Straxon was the
Creepy little bastard.
Yeah.
slave driving monster?
something like that. And it's not so much forts, just very nice, large houses. Occasionally marble or pillars. They're all gated, but not super high gates. And there are occasional patrols of the City Watch that go through more than you're used to, staying in the middle markets where you have been, but nothing. Nobody's giving you like sidelong glances or being very suspicious that you're there at all. There is a few shops. Some of them actually have like full glass paneled windows. Like you're in a pretty nice like shopping area. So there's definitely shops and bars and pubs. Most of them look upscale.
No holes in the wall.
Roll perception.
15. That's for Crethlin. 15.
15 for Bankard.
Darren has a 19.
I have a 23.
Darren narrows his eyes.
That's why you can't see so well.
I'm too busy being jealous of your youthful eyes.
Oh, also mine's actually 19. I'm sorry. I didn't add my modifier.
Oh.
So you notice that there are definitely some middle class pubs and restaurants and things. And as you walk down Oberon, you notice a door that has no markings on it. And it could be just like leading up to the apartments. But then you notice that two people sort of stumble out drunkenly, and they don't really necessarily look like they belong. And as the door swings shut, you see like a guy standing at the bar, like polishing a glass. And then it shuts.
I think I found a pub, guys.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
Well, let's go then. What are we waiting around here for?
Now, Crethlin, I mean, I don't mean to insult, but we seem to be in a nicer neighborhood. I just saw
It's
two
not the first
fellows.
time I've gotten this speech from you.
I'm aware, but I'm
You know
just.
how it ends.
It ends with you mouthing off to the bartender, and we get kicked out.
Right, exactly. So, why are you even telling me about it? Let's go.
All right.
Seriously though, Crethlin, I like this place.
Well, you don't even know if you like it. You've never been inside.
Right.
Now we're all going to be professional about this, yes?
Oh, this is your first adventure with us, isn't it?
Ugh.
Well, let's go. Come on.
All right. So this is your traditional hole in the wall pub. No booths, just tables, and only the one bartender. He's older, balding human, wearing like a smock over his regular clothes. The dish rags are sort of dirty, but you what's your passive?
My passive is 19.
Yeah. What's your passive?
18.
Okay. So Oberon and Darren get the distinct impression that this place is the place where the people who want to escape from their nagging wives and husbands, sort of like, or crying children, go to. And most people, it's like by word of mouth. They don't advertise. So it's a little dingier. There's no rough and tumble element to it. It's just like, I just want to come here and drink. And that's basically what the patronage looks like. There's one guy with like a little bit of spit up on his jerkin.
Like from a baby
Like
or from
a
himself?
baby.
Okay.
People look tired. There's a couple guys playing a dice game over in the corner at a table. So that's pretty much it. The bar is empty. There's also a few empty tables. It's actually a very wide, low ceilinged place. It's very dark. There's no exterior lighting. And the ceiling is only about 7 feet high. So
Plenty of room.
Bankard, you may be feeling a little cramped with your, what are you, 6'8" or something giant like
No,
that?
like 6'3".
Oh, okay.
I can still touch the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even, you could like stand on tiptoe and touch the ceiling with your head. You don't have to duck, but anyone much taller than you would have to. There's a couple beams that go across that you do have to duck under.
So is it a mixture of races in here, or do we stand out because we have some people who aren't human?
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's like
It's not segregated.
yeah.
Cool. Fancy neighborhood, you never know.
Metropolitan.
All right.
Yeah, they don't like humans here.
Except for the bartender.
We don't serve your kind.
We don't serve my
You're my kind.
So is there an empty table?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Right, lads, first round's on me. Go grab yourselves a table. I'll be back with some lager.
All right.
How about wine for me, thanks?
Oh, fucking snobby ass Alzheimer's. And I would stumble away.
I don't want to be drunk for a job.
Well, see, Crethlin doesn't understand how other people drink. He assumes everyone has his tolerance.
I
So
see.
I walk up to the bartender. Oh, 4 pints of lager there, love.
What a professional.
He grows on you.
So the bartender looks up, continues to clean his glass. What kind?
What you got?
There's like,
I have a list. Oh, sorry, couldn't see it from way down here.
I'm assuming you went the dwarven lager then.
Preferably, yes.
All right.
Oh, no, 4 pints of lager, that's fine.
All right. And he pulls, roll perception, please.
21.
So he pulls 2 recently cleaned glasses and 2 definitely not recently cleaned glasses down off the wall. And they're not like filthy, they're just dusty.
But there is the option of having 4 clean glasses, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Huh.
But they're just the 4 closest to him,
Oh.
not the one that he was cleaning. So he was cleaning one, and he just reaches up. He doesn't even move. He doesn't even really turn around. He just takes his arms and like reaches over, doesn't look, and sets them down in front of the barrel and starts pouring. And then he's like, all right, 7 gold, please.
7 gold, eh? And I toss him 8 gold.
Thanks.
Quite welcome. Thank you, lad. Perhaps next time I can get some clean glasses, but you know.
Sorry, what?
What? Oh, no, I didn't say nothing. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I walk away.
Okay. So you take the glasses over to the table.
Yep.
Sit down.
Give one of the dirty ones to the elf. Actually, both the dirty ones to the elves.
I'm not an elf.
Wait.
You got 2 humans, 1 elf, and a dwarf. You just think of me as an elf because I'm so...
So you get the other.
You're so elf-like,
So
you know?
I get this pint of lager in front of me, and I look at Crethlin and I'm like, so it's gonna be this then.
Oh, yeah. No wine, sorry.
Ah,
It's one of those kinds of bars.
I see. Yeah. All right.
I take a sip of mine and go... kind of a weird tasting lager, don't you think?
Well, I gulp
Mine
half of
tastes
mine
fine.
down. Oh, no, I think it tastes all right.
It's got
I top you up with mine.
All
What's
right,
that,
so,
lad? Wait,
about
hold
the
on,
job.
hold on. You're not going to drink the drink that I bought for you. You know,
No.
that's incredibly insulting. Have you ever drunk with a mountain dwarf before?
No, I know. I
Bankard's
must
Have you
Good
ever
admit,
motion.
met a mountain dwarf before, my lad?
Bankard's gonna
Maybe.
motion like...
I met a lot of
Just drink
people
it.
in my life. It's been a long life.
Oh, so you're saying that we just look like everybody else?
Wait a minute. You're twisting my words.
Am I?
Anyway, gentlemen,
Crethlin, you have that 3 dragon ante set on you, right? Let's play a hand.
Fine. I whip it out.
task at hand.
Yes, Bankard,
task at-
agreed. Task at hand.
Task at hand. As I deal out the cards for Crethlin and I to play.
How do we want to go about this?
Well, it would be nice to actually get to the place as soon as possible, but
Well, we have time before we have a window, so we're...
Did we pass by the place on the way into here?
You did not.
We did not. Okay.
so I think that's
Are
next
we
on the
still?
docket. I think we should do maybe a run by. If then, as long as they're not out mist walking or whatever, maybe we can do it inconspicuously, considering it's a bustling day in the city.
Do we want to go all at once, or have some of us stay in this bar and send out a couple
I think it'd be
scouts
awful
as it were?
conspicuous having our merry band bandying about this temple area
Right.
all together.
Well, if you think so, I'm happy to split up. Bankard, if you want to go.
Bankard, you know this area pretty well. Are there some shops down the road past the?
Yes, there are some shops in that location.
Excellent. Okay, so we can make a show of going to one of those shops and then coming back to this bar.
Yes. Once
Um,
I've finished my drink.
Yeah. So I'll just and I take a sip of my drink and then kind of feel some grit in my mouth. And go, this lager's just really not agreeing with me, Crethlin.
Oh, just hand it over, you fucking pansy ass.
Thank you. It's just, I think, is this a hair in my mouth?
Adds flavour.
Right. To each his own. How about Bankard and I head out, and I look at look at the elf and the dwarf, the mountain dwarf.
Are you sure that's the wisest way to split the party?
Mayhaps I'll stay with Crethlin then.
Oh, hold on. Is that what are you trying to say there?
Oh, I'm-
Is that a comment on my character?
All right, Darun,
Uh,
let's go check out this temple.
I lock eyes with Kretlin. I drain the remaining half of the beer, and I walk out of the bar.
I can respect that. Good lad.
It's a great thing you finished that drink, because they will not forget about it.
He doesn't seem like the forgetting type, and I'm not here to make enemies necessarily.
Yeah, no, it's sometimes you just gotta drink it.
Thanks
gotta
for
drink
looking out for
Kool-Aid.
me. It's good life advice.
Not necessarily always good health advice. He doesn't understand human tolerances. I'm just speaking from personal experience.
Of course. So let's do this. Let's swing on by the temple. See if it looks different in the light of day.
I'll guide us to the temple.
Okay. So you guys walk down the streets. It's about 15 minutes to get from where the pub was to where you know the temple to be. Darren's been there before, but it's funny. You know you're in the right area, but you keep on trying to look for it, and it's like your eyes just like move, like slide off of it as you go. So you're not sure if you're there yet or not.
Right.
Bankard, roll religion for me, please.
Rolling that religion. 12.
There's the building right there. It's
Do you see it? It's slippery to look at. Are we there?
Yeah, damned Lyra.
so the building is it looks like a one-story building. There's a portion of it that it juts out into the front a little bit, and there's a little bit of a yard. The rest of the building is flat. It looks very just like a rectangle, and on top there is a glass roof, and you can see that it is a pyramid, and it doesn't come all the way to the edges of the building, but it does jut out, and it looks like, from what you're looking at, like a large triangle.
Awfully simple for a goddess of trickery, huh?
That's how she gets you.
Now, do you see... what do you see in terms of ingress here?
Let me look real quick.
The part that juts out, it does have a door. You don't see any way to open the door.
Is it like just a normal wood door, like missing a knob, or is it?
It's a carved, ornate door. It doesn't look like it can be seen through, but there's no handle that you can see to open it.
Is it possible for us to walk all the way around it and see if we see anything else interesting, like taking a circuitous route?
So you can see that in between the buildings, there's enough space and a path that seems to go on either side. Bankard.
Okay.
It's very close to the building. It's not like it's a road. There aren't many people traversing it at all. It looks like most people don't even see it. Like people's eyes basically look at the shop on the right, which is haberdashery, and the shop on the left, which is a shoe shop.
Ah, I can see why people would not see those two paths with those stores.
They are very nice.
But people, their eyes basically flip from one to the other. It's almost like they don't realize that there's anything there.
Well, shall we go look at hats, my new friend?
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
We're going to kind of go towards the haberdashery and see if we can get a better look at a path.
Sure. So as you get closer, it gets harder for Darren to look at it. The closer that you get to the building.
Those hats are just so alluring.
Is there any way I can, pray to Cuthbert?
You can always pray to Cuthbert.
Be like, yo, Cuthbert, this guy needs, a cudgel upside his head.
You get the feeling that you would actually need to cudgel his head.
Does it have to be a cudgel?
How's your word?
You as a follower of Saint Cuthbert, upon graduation of
Cuthbert
Academy.
I was gonna say like seminary, but you are given your symbolic cudgel that you're supposed to carry.
My friend, in order to help you, I must do something that seems like I'm not helping you.
What?
You see that haberdashery, that hat in there?
I can
I'm
see
gonna pull
nothing
my-
else.
Oh my god.
I'm going to take my cudgel out and give him a good whack on the head.
What the fuck, man?
And then I'm going to point to the path.
Oh,
You see it now?
do I see it now? Oh. Actually, what the fuck, man?
Let's go investigate. But again, please forgive me.
I rub the back of my skull and follow you.
So the path you, as you get closer and get a different angle, you see that the building is actually, the angle is much sharper than a 90 degree angle of a rectangle or like a normal building corner. And this side of the building is exactly the same length as the front of the building, but there's no windows or anything. You can see that the glass pyramid thing on the roof is actually a pyramid. It's actually triangular,
Interesting.
and you could extrapolate from there that probably the building is triangular.
It appears this entire building is triangular.
Man, I wish that somehow helped me figure out how to get into it. I feel like it might be more productive to come back when we're able to actually poke around and start making sure it's physical, but I don't want to draw too much attention to us.
Well, at least we got a little bit of the layout. I might have to do some more helping with everyone else.
Yeah.
Which is going to be
Maybe you
tough.
could next time explain what you're about to do beforehand rather than speak in riddles and smack your friend in the back of the head. How about that?
Well, sir, you see, it's not easy to convince someone to let me hit them with a cudgel.
I don't know. You managed with me pretty good.
I had to trick you, unfortunately.
Oh, look who's fallen into the trap of the goddess of deception.
How dare...
No. I don't mean to ruffle your feathers or nothing.
Let's return to our comrades.
All right.
So Crethlin and I put down a 10 silver wager on a 3-dragon ante game. So how do we go about resolving that? He is proficient in 3-dragon ante. I am not.
All right. So each of you roll a d6, a d8, and a d12.
Do I add it up?
Yes, add it up.
Right? 17?
17 also, actually.
Whoa!
That's perfect. So what is your 12 roll?
10.
9.
What is your 8 roll?
1.
5.
Okay. And what's a 6 roll?
6.
3.
Okay. So you have 2 dragons and you have 1 dragon.
Give me that 10 silver, laddie.
Oh, man, one of these days I'm gonna stop losing money to you.
Oh, someday.
One of these days. Oh, hey, they're back.
Exciting news, everyone. The temple's a triangle.
I'm glad. Okay,
Well, that helps so much.
yeah. I mean, it's one thing we didn't know before.
That's absolutely true.
right. So,
Any other information?
anything at all?
We also have discovered a way to free you from the illusions.
Oh, excellent. That's great to hear.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
I mean, I suppose that's why they brought you along, Mancard. Something that you could do
That nobody else could do.
because of your Cuthbertine-ness.
Cuthbertine expertise.
Cuthbert is just all right with me.
So, how much more time do we have until?
What time is it?
Yeah.
It's been like 2 hours.
Can we waste time until
You think we could win some money off those bastards over there and their dice?
God.
Giving those people a once over, do I get the impression that they would be social at all?
Roll perception.
11.
Okay. You notice that in addition to the pile of money that they have in between them, there are some decorative weapons on the pile, and one is sticking straight into the table.
Krethlin, I think that this game is just between those two. I don't think we should intrude.
Oh, come on.
It looks a bit serious.
those are the best types of games.
I honestly, I don't like the way the stakes.
How long do we have again?
You think dusk will probably be in like 90 minutes.
Cool. So we'll just sit here and play some casual Three Dragon ante.
Filthy
'Cause-
You are the
casuals?
three most boring people that I've ever met in my life.
Well, we're about to have a lot of excitement. We need to reserve our energy. And yeah, just hang out for until time, I think. And I'll just keep convincing Krethlin not to do anything stupid.
All right. You do. And the time passes relatively enjoyably. Krethlin gets a little grumpier than normal,
Also a little bit drunker.
Yeah.
hence the grumpier than normal. Yeah, so with about half an hour before dusk, you guys leave. It takes you 15 minutes to get there. You get there without any trouble. You get there, and Oberon gets sort of his eyes linger on it for just like a half a second longer.
I still can't quite see it.
But you still can't quite see it. And Krethlin, what's your passive is
14.
14. Okay. But you're drunk.
I'm like half drunk. I'm slightly tipsy.
All right. It looks like there's grass.
Oh, grass. You're right. This is really interesting.
Oh, so it's okay when you want to talk about grass.
I didn't see the grass beforehand, did I?
Bonk bonk.
Oh, you fuck! And I punch him right in the dick.
Well, this time, no prelude. I see your evangelism has developed.
Fingers on the ground. Look.
Hey, you're right. There it is.
And it seems shaped like a triangle then, I guess, right?
Pretty
You can't tell
triangular.
from
You're
this
not
angle,
wrong.
or-
Yeah, so you see the door without a handle, and that it's got like what you could assume was like a vestibule before the main sort of flat front wall, which is 1 story rectangular, and then you can see the triangular piece of the pyramid. It's not out to the edges of the roof. It's more like in the center of the building.
And how many stories is it again?
Just one.
Just one story. Okay.
Now, do I remember seeing the Mist Eaters come out of the temple last time I was here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to advise us to wait until the Mist Eaters come out before we try to investigate this place. So maybe...
Paths that go along the side.
Oh, right. We could hide behind the building. That might work.
If we could look at hats.
Krethlin, could you help him up?
I didn't even punch him that hard. Come on, lad. And I yank him up by the front of his collar.
Clang, 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 clang. He's much taller than you, so you can only lift him halfway.
I kind of like lift him up there anyway.
And then put your shoulder under his butt and push him out the rest of the way.
There you go. Good.
So perhaps I should have explained.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
tenets of the Cuthbertine religion is
Walking
Saint
people with a
Cuthbertine will knock you in the head with a cudgel to knock some sense into you.
well, you knocked something into me, but I don't know.
I see the building now, right?
I think maybe the common sense thing would have been to tell us beforehand.
Well, no
I
one's
told him that too.
So
but you don't
let's
tell
find
people
a
you
place to stake out and wait.
Okay, so with all this rolling around on the ground in pain and etc., it's taken you. It's probably been about 25 minutes. It is like the shadows are definitely long. You guys, I guess, scurry around the corner.
Yeah, let's run.
Yep. Scurry.
Clank,
Okay.
clank, 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 clank.
Poke my head out to see what I could see, being stealthy as I can.
Roll for stealth.
Everyone or
Sure. Everyone roll for stealth.
Oh man.
19.
9.
You know, I'm just hiding behind the building. I'm not looking.
15 for Crethlin.
4.
So it's misty, so it's harder to for them
So
to see
damp.
Oh yeah.
And you do see that when they come out, they're dressed in all gray,
And they come out of the front of the building. Yes,
Yeah.
the door.
and they walk with their palms outstretched as they go.
Do we notice how they open the door with no handle?
Well, they're coming out from the inside, so I think the door is opening, and they're just walking out of it.
Yeah.
But how to open the door from the outside is the problem we
That's
face.
But the door, they did come out through that door.
There were 14 of them.
Okay, so they're done filing now, right? They're moving?
they're down the street.
And
Okay.
doors closed.
The time has started.
Okay.
And we go.
So I'm gonna start feeling around the side of the building to make sure that it's real, and to see if I can find any like secret entrances or places where the like wall isn't real or
Like
something
a
like
torch, like on the outside of the wall, right? You can just yank it.
Yeah. It's
I'm going to reflect on my religious studies to see what kind of mechanisms they would use.
Oh, is it made of stone?
It is made of stone.
Can I study it?
Absolutely.
All right.
Your stone cunning.
My stone cutting. Am I just I'm rolling perception?
It's a history, so
History,
it's your history, but you get double proficiency in it.
That was not good.
Did you roll a?
Yeah, sure. Go
that
ahead and
was
roll
a-
religion.
Critical fail.
Hey, 18.
It's stony.
I think it's made of rock slides.
You're drunk. You rolled an 18 bank card? Nice. So you know that while they're trickstery, they're not necessarily, they don't feel like they need secret ways out of things or anything like that. They can usually trick their way past what they need. You figure the front door is your option, at least on this ground floor.
I'm still ridiculously rubbing the walls.
I'm gonna walk up to the front door and I'm gonna touch it and I'm gonna cast Identify.
Okay. You can tell that there's no particular spell specifically on the door, but you definitely can identify the myriad of illusory spells that are on the building itself.
Okay.
That are imbued into the stone.
All right, I'm gonna skulk around to the front, and I'm gonna pull out my crowbar, and I'm gonna see if I can wedge it in between the door and open it up.
Did he actually do a full circle of the building touching the walls?
I assume I did, unless Bankard told me like, that's a ridiculous thing that you're doing.
I'm
Stop."
imagining like people on the street are like, "Oh, what's that guy doing?"
Just like-
"Oh yeah, I'm feeling this wall, man. I'm feeling it."
So did he or?
Yeah, it's a wall.
Yeah, but
So
that
it
wall
just
is
felt
flat.
like it felt like the same wall all the way around.
Also, I think it's made of rocks.
Yeah, that's
It
what
is, I
Crumple
told you that. It is made of rocks.
Yeah, so you cast Identify,
touching the building.
Right.
Yeah, and it, like, if you inform me that it's not magical, I would be like,
Well-
oh, is it really that simple?
Yeah, so the door, I don't identify any magic on the door.
Not
but
specifically on the door,
but on the building.
on the building, imbued into sort of all
the
of it.
whole
There's
Fidelius charm thing that's going on with the building so that no one can see
yeah.
it.
So I'm gonna try to crowbar. It's like, is this actually all it takes? And
I would like you to roll sleight of hand.
I'm slightly handy.
Ayo.
That would be a 22.
Okay. And then I would like you to roll stealth.
Slightly stealthy as well. 14.
Okay. And then I would like you to roll strength.
7. Can someone give me a hand with this right here?
All right,
help you,
lad,
friend.
hold on.
So you take the crowbar and you are able to like jam it in without sort of almost any resistance. But it's sort of like you put it right where the actual latch is. So when you shoved it in, it was like gung, 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 gung. It wasn't super loud, but it wasn't quiet. It's one of those things where you're being super quiet,
Like-
so everything sounds really loud. And then you tug on it, and it won't budge.
I push the door.
As you go to push the door, it opens. And there is a gentleman there, an elf.
Hi.
He's dressed in the traditional gray, head to toe, shapeless robes. And he's got almost colorless hair. Like he's got a full head of hair. He's and he doesn't. I mean, he's an elf, so he's not going to look old, but he doesn't have sort of the gravitas of an older elf, like the timelessness of that. And he sort of opens the door and looks confusedly at you.
Hello, sir. Have you heard the word about St. Cuthbertine? Cuthbert?
And his eyes light up.
Nice.
He's very confused. Oops, there it goes.
I put my crowbar away, by the way.
What are you talking about?
And he looks at. Is Crethlin there as well?
Oh, I'm there.
Yeah, they both walked up to try and help him with the...
Oh, okay.
we're all just standing there.
So he looks sort of confused at the group. Are you?
We're all Cuthbertines, eh? St. Cuthbert. I love the lad. He's my favourite.
Roll deception, please.
That's bad. Well, come up here, you. Second one of the game. Critical fail.
He looks at you up and down and says, "Where's your cudgel and your no?"
I got robbed here. Sorry, I robbed on the way over here. My bad.
Sorry, my friend is drunk.
I'm not as drunk as you think I am, you fuck.
As he says that, I just gesture meaningfully at the fact that he replied like that to me, saying he was drunk.
Ah, fucking
And,
asshole.
and I'm like, we just met this paladin here at the tavern,
And he converted me in the tavern, and now I'm a Cuthbertine. Thank you, lad.
I mean, if that's
I've seen the good word.
But yes, he decided to he essentially decided to have us come along on his what did you call it? Was it a pilgrimage?
Yes.
And he said he wanted to spread the word of Saint Cuthbert, and it sounded like a good enough time for the rest of us. And apparently, he converted my friend here.
Roll deception
Okay,
with advantage.
okay,
You lucky fuck.
a 25.
So he looks at the group, recognizes that, okay, you're probably at least telling most of the truth. It's very odd that you were able to come up to the actual building, but he's very, very interested in Bankard. So he says, you're a paladin. You're a paladin? Is that what he said? Of St. Cuthbert. And you've come here. And there's a little smile playing, like he's trying really hard not to smile really hard.
Bankard doesn't try to hide his smile. Says, yes, I try to stop anywhere I can to spread the good word of zeal, common sense.
I would love to hear more about St. Cuthbert.
Wonderful.
Would you like to come in, sir? I'm Kirith.
Ah, Kirith.
And he extends his
Bankard,
hand out to you.
Pleased to meet you.
Bankard, excellent to meet you. Why don't you come in? And
I would love to. Thank you.
excellent.
Come along, acolytes.
Your friends recent converts. I mean, I'm sure they're very convincing, but I'd love to hear it just from you. I think you'll be very convincing.
May we visit the reliquary?
I pull out my cudgel and hit him on the head.
Kirith looks delighted at this.
Unfortunately, as you can see, I need to keep an eye on my acolytes, but I'll keep them in order. And he holds up the cudgel and winks.
Roll a persuasion if you have it.
Yep.
You can help him if you would like.
It's a natural 20, so 22.
Oh, you don't need to help if you
All
like.
right. I won't even bother. I scowl.
Yes. I'm very interested to hear about St. Cuthbert. Why don't you come in? Your acolytes will we can have them sit in the vestibule and they'll be all right.
Oh no! You see,
don't go anywhere.
If I'm going to tell you about the word, I need to make sure they hear everything as well. They were a lot easier to convert.
Perhaps my friend here, gesturing at Crethlin, shouldn't be permitted into sensitive areas of the temple.
What are you trying to say?
The vestibule.
I hit him on the head with a cudgel.
And I restrain myself from punching him in the dick again.
I think just the vestibule will do. I think.
Okay. Would the object we're looking for count as perhaps a consecrated object that's being used?
Yes.
If I can do it, kind of
subtly.
Yeah, subtly. I would like to divine sense to see if I can locate this object.
Okay. Your divine sense, you grab your holy symbol and
let us pray.
and close your eyes, and usually you can sense if something is exceedingly good or exceedingly evil, but there's something sort of that you've never felt before. It feels like good and evil. Maybe it's like a sickly sweet sense. It feels like when you touch something cold but you're expecting it to be hot, and so it feels like it burns you for a second. It's that sort of sensation. Like, it's not good or bad, but it's definitely, and it's below you from where you are. Below and over a bit.
Over which cardinal direction?
Let's go with north.
Okay. So is the
Kirith?
priest dude? Yeah. Do they have their head bowed?
No, he's watching gleefully.
Oh. Ah. I love praying.
I would love to learn how to pray to St. Cuthbert. Why don't we go talk about that in my office?
Yes, let us go. Let us go inside.
Let us all go inside to your office.
Kirith, may I ask you how many members your temple has? How large your temple is?
Could always be larger.
I thought you had just converted to...
I'm an easy convert. This is a really nice vestibule.
Cudgel!
Oh, you fucking cunt!
I was thinking more on the level of speaking to your other acolytes.
Oh, unfortunately, at this time, we traditionally do our evening pilgrimage.
Oh, so you're all alone in here?
You were left behind?
Someone always must be the conduit for Lyra But perhaps St. Cuthbert, I'd like to hear more about him. He's sort of like...
I mean, St.
Well,
Cuthbert...
then you should definitely oblige him, shouldn't you, Bankard?
Of course. And Bankard grins.
So he gestures you this way and sort of doesn't really want you guys, the three of you, to come along.
Can't stop me.
Wait, so vestibule. Describe the vestibule for me.
Sure. It's about 10 feet deep, 10 feet wide. There's the large doors that take up the majority of the south wall. There is a open archway to the north wall, and there are couches on either side of the vestibule, like a waiting room, sort of. You can see that it opens up, and there's a hallway that goes east-west, and then there's another archway, and you see that sort of like an atrium area, which you could guess is underneath the glass pyramid.
And he's leading Bankard in which direction?
North, and then north again towards the atrium, and then...
Bankard, may I speak with you privately for a
right.
moment before you leave us?
Of course, my child. And he kind of...
Hey, Bankard, do you want to bag and tag this guy right now? He's alone here. We could explore freely, and we wouldn't need to listen to his prattle.
Let's be clear on one thing. We're not killing him.
I'm not killing him. I'm just putting him in a bag.
I'm serious. Do not kill this person.
I don't need to kill him. We just need to incapacitate him somehow.
Works for me.
Yeah,
basically all I was going to say is while he does that, I basically step forward and start asking about, the atrium and where does this lead? Where does this, just to distract the guy.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and knock him out.
He's so elated that St.
Well, you're the one with the cudgel. I just have I can I don't know, I can pierce him if you need, but people tend to die after I do that.
I've got a big hammer.
I'll just cudgel him.
He looks at you weird. That's very nice.
Look at it. You want to see it? Come now. I pull out.
No.
Declan. And a really good look at it. Come here.
So, the first part of the conversion to St. Cuthbert is a very small ritual to grant you some common sense. I'm going to knock him in the head, the cudgel, knock him out.
Roll an attack roll.
So 16.
Bonk.
Okay. So he's like, oh no, I could. And as your cudgel knocks into his head, there's like a blinding flash of light that comes from it, and he falls down and he's asleep.
That really is a holy tool, isn't it?
That's weird. We should tie him up and gag him and maybe hide him somewhere.
I'm with Darren on this.
Can't argue with that.
We do that. Is there a door? Are there any doors from where we are? Do we know where he was leading to, his office?
Sure. So going north, you are able to see that there are 3 doors. One to the east, one to the west, and one to the north. Around the atrium. All 3 are closed, and he was indicating that you guys would go right, but he never got that far to actually tell you where his office was.
And right is which cardinal direction?
But we don't know the location, right? Only
Bankard
knows.
Yeah.
So we tie him up and...
Oh, yeah, Bankard, are you going to, reveal that you sent something downstairs?
Bruh.
Yeah, so I recommend we stow him in his office while we take a look around here. We got to move. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to the right?
To store him in the said office?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm into that.
Okay.
So we open that door.
So you open that
The door he was leading us to.
door.
Really loving this cudgel.
Yeah, well, that makes one of us.
Okay, so that it looks like it's some sort of office. The room comes to a point. You figure it's where the front corner that you guys were actually hiding behind outside is. It's there's like a day bed sort of thing. Like it looks like it was slept on, but it's a couch. And then there's a tiny little desk with all these papers, and there's symbols everywhere on the walls and things like that. And I guess you guys
We tuck him in.
You tuck him in. Sure.
And so I know there were no windows from the outside, but from the inside, are there windows? Are there like illusory windows?
You haven't seen any,
Okay.
but the glass, there a lot of light is coming in from the atrium and the glass pyramid.
Okay.
All right, let's check out the rest of these doors and see if we can find some way into the basement.
And there's only one door into his office, into the corner?
Yeah, there's only one door.
Cool.
So you guys
Tuck him in.
tuck him in nicely.
Very sweetly.
Darren, you find this very unusual because he's an elf and he was just put to sleep.
Yes.
And you guys walk out towards the atrium, shut the door behind you, and that is where we'll end for today. This podcast has been brought to you by ENPC Productions, all rights reserved. The Essential NPCs podcast is not affiliated with, endorsed, sponsored, or specifically approved by Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons are trademarks of Wizards of the Coast, LLC, a subsidiary of Hasbro. Go to dnd.wizards.com to find out more.